I'm Lisa Prather, and welcome to The Voice of Health with our host, Dr. Robert Prather of the Prather Practice, where lives are changed every day through the natural approach to healthcare. Well, today we're going to talk about the truth about free radicals. You hear that a lot about free radicals and antioxidants, and so we're going to free the radicals.
Okay.
I've said this before, it sounds like a, new rock group or something.
Yeah, the free, that would be a great name.
Wouldn't it?
The Free Radicals.
There's a store that my girls go to. It's called Free People. And they laugh at me all the time because I was calling it Free the People. So that's our joke. You're going to free the people? Well, Dr. Prather, what is a free radical? When we're saying free radicals, what does that mean?
Most people don't really know what that means. Mm-hmm. It's how they go out there and ask different questions. Like, I'm eating gluten-free, and people, they go out there and ask them, well, what's gluten? I don't know.
But I'm eating it gluten-free.
And people are talking about, free radicals as a problem without, really understanding what those are. And a good way to describe free radicals, it's a normal type of a process within the body. Mm-hmm. The oxidative process and the reduction process, the redox potential of a chemical reaction is what we base most of our chemical reactions, both as we're making chemicals and then also within our body. So when we're talking about free radicals, it's where there's a free electron, which can be a problem. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about free radical pathology, a good way to describe it is what happens to a gate, that's metal, mm-hmm. and starts to get rusty. Mm-hmm. That's free radical pathology.
Okay.
That's a chemical reaction that starts to occur on that gate, and it starts to get rusty.
So we're starting to get rusty.
Basically.
Okay.
Or if you're looking at a piece of fruit and it, you start to see some brown spots on it, mm-hmm.
That's
free radical pathology. Mm. Matter of fact, if you look at someone and they have some brown spots, what they call liver spots?
Yeah.
That's free radical pathology. It's just like a piece of fruit that starts to get some brown spots on it. Mm-hmm. We get brown spots when we start to have free radical pathology starting to occur.
Can it be moles too?
Well, there's also the degeneration from molds and bacteria.
Okay. That
also occur. But that's part of the degeneration. But so there's a couple things that break down, fruit or anything out there. Mm-hmm. One, free radical pathology, and then also bacteria and fungal type and molds.
So it happens as we age?
Matter of fact, if you were perfect on that and didn't have any free radical pathology, you would look like you're 21 the rest of your life. Mm. So one of the things that happens to a piece of fruit as it has free radical pathology, it starts to wrinkle. Mm-hmm. And wrinkles are free radicals.
Okay.
So that's what causes the skin to wrinkle. So oftentimes you can have some one big thing that they're finding out is how to make antioxidant creams so you can rub it on your face and the wrinkles disappear. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the big things that they do. So free radicals break down, the body. Mm-hmm. It is actually the aging process. Mm-hmm. And if we could control it, then you stay young, and a lot of different diseases don't occur.
Good. Are we going to talk about that later in the show?
Maybe.
That's the big question. So what's the big deal about free radicals?
Well,
we're hearing so much about them.
Yeah, it's a process in our system that is important to understand if we're trying to go for longevity and a healthy life. Mm-hmm. So the free radicals, there can be. It was controversial in quite a bit of, quite a few things. some doctors kind of poo-pooed it, no big deal. I mean, it's just a natural process of aging. Mm-hmm. But if you really don't want to age quickly, if you don't want to get a lot of different types of diseases, it's good to understand, what's going on. And there's actually a research. There are magazines, research magazines, which you can subscribe to, scientific peer-reviewed journals, that's all they deal with is free radicals. So there is a feeling that understanding free radicals could be a grasp of the fountain of youth. Mm. And whenever you talk about the fountain of youth to people perk up.
Right.
So when you're talking about free radicals in this, you're talking about something that can be, if we get a handle on it, a transformative type of a technology that would increase the length of life and the health of life quite dramatically.
Well, what about antioxidants? What are antioxidants and how are they related?
Certainly. And the term an antioxidant, it's the oxygen molecule that usually carries the free radicals. Because the oxygen, it's I won't get into it, but its atomic structure lends it to having free electrons. And those free electrons are one of the basis of why a lot of chemical reactions occur. Oxygenation, that's also what allows oxygen in our body. When we have to breathe in oxygen for the respiratory system, and that's where we get our energy from. So the energy in our
this
body.
This is sounding like chemistry to me.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to keep it away from chemistry, but an antioxidant are products, are vitamins. There's vitamins, there's minerals, there's enzymes, there's amino acids that have the ability to stop the oxidative process, that rust that occurs. Because it's the oxygen hitting the steel or the metal that causes the rust to occur. So an antioxidant. So if you have a peach, and the peach actually has natural antioxidants in it that keep it from turning brown immediately. Also, if you slice up that peach and put it into a can and then try to sell it to people, we add extra antioxidants like vitamin C or other different types of chemicals in there that can keep it from oxidating and turn bad.
Okay.
So an antioxidant keeps the free radical pathology from occurring.
Interesting.
And there's a lot of different types of products out there or things that our body actually makes inside that are very powerful in keeping that process under control. We need that process to be able to live, and it has a tremendous amount of functions. But if it gets out of balance, then we age, we develop diseases, and things can become a problem.
Okay. Well, what diseases are associated with free radical pathology?
Well, the two biggies the first one is aging. Just getting old is associated with free radical pathology. Then cancer is a very, very important aspect of free radical pathology. Because with cancer cells, you have to have a change in the RNA or DNA or the telomeres for cancer cells to actually occur. So what happens is the free radicals come in there, damage the cell, and will change the DNA, the whole process. And then when it replicates, it gets out of hand and starts to form the cancer cells. So there's the whole theory of free radical pathology as one of the bases of cancer. Also, it is a very important aspect of cardiovascular disease. So cardiovascular disease is very much a part of the free radical pathology. The free radicals are, matter of fact, the body actually uses free radicals to destroy old tissue. But it can also damage normal tissue too. And one of the places that it can damage normal tissue is in the arteries. So almost all arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis is associated with free radical damage to the arteries. So as you have the free radical damage, then the body lays down the plaque and tries to protect it. Also, it can damage the heart. It also causes the red blood cells to clump together, so there's a less of an oxygen getting to the different tissue. And the heart is the most sensitive tissue on a reduction of oxygen to it. The other things that can occur with free radical pathology is a lot of autoimmune diseases, especially neurological, because the nervous system is very sensitive to free radical damage. MS is associated with it. ALS is associated with it. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all of those are free radical diseases that are prevented or helped by reducing the free radical pathology. Rheumatoid arthritis is a free radical disease. What happens are the free radicals damage the cartilage, and then when you have damaged cells, then the body the immune system does not recognize it as your own tissue and will start to attack it. So rheumatoid arthritis is a big area of work along those lines. Gout is actually a free radical disease because uric acid in the body is the strongest, most powerful antioxidant that we have. So one of the things is I can look at the blood work and see what the uric acid levels are, and you need to have it in a perfect range, what we call homeostasis, and that's where everything's working right. If the uric acid goes too low, then your free radical damage is increasing quite dramatically. If it goes too high, the body is reacting correctly, but the body's producing so much uric acid that it's starting to deposit into the joints, trying to control the free radicals. So with gout, all you have to do is get the free radicals down and gout disappears.
Interesting.
It's actually
involved in a lot of disease process, huh?
It is huge. It is huge. And I always consider, as I look at the body, what the free radical situation is.
Okay, well, up next, let's talk about the causes of free radical pathology. You can win a free 60-minute massage in a relaxing spa at the Prather practice. Each month, we have a drawing to give away a free massage to one of our lucky Facebook and Twitter fans. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter on our website at thevoiceofhealthradio.com. This is The Voice of Health with Dr. Robert Prather. The Voice of Health Wellness Tip with Dr. Robert Prather of the Prather Practice. Dr. Prather, you talk a lot about structure function care and disease care. What is the difference between the two?
When you're talking about disease care, you're usually talking about an interference in the body's normal mechanisms. There is a time for that. When the body is actually in a process of free fall, is a good way to kind of put it, where the body is no longer making sense of what it's doing. And we're on a pattern that it will actually crash. Then you need some interference. And the best way to actually do that is through pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals are classified as poisons. They actually take the body further away from homeostasis, which I'll define here in a second. But at those times, that is actually necessary. So when the body is in a crisis and is no longer able to heal itself, that's when disease care is actually critical. That's where you actually utilize the pharmaceuticals and the surgical methods. What we're usually involved with is in structure function, and as opposed to a disease care, it's health care. Everything that you use in a structure function standpoint is something to bring the body back into homeostasis, which is balance.
Okay.
Dr. Guyton talked about homeostasis as the definition of health. If the body can maintain homeostasis, where it's in a perfect balance with all the different types of things that are coming in that are interfering with its function, that is the perfect state of health. And that's based on a balance of the physiology, functional, and upon the structure portion of the structure function.
Well, you talk about the body as the hero. What do you mean by that?
Body has a self-healing mechanism to it that can just make all sorts of corrections if we can just get out of its way. The whole idea behind healthcare is to provide the impetus, the needs, and the basis of what it will take to actually get the body well. So finding out where it's off, doing the proper diagnostics, and then making the proper type of adjustments into the care will actually result in the healing and the position that the body should actually be in.
Well, find out how structure function care can impact your life. Schedule your appointment at the Prather Practice, 317-848-8048. That's 317-848-8048. Or learn more on our website at thevoiceofhealthradio.com. The Prather Practice, restoring hope.
And I'm feeling good.
You're listening to The Voice of Health with Dr. Robert Prather of the Prather Practice, the most comprehensive wellness center in the Midwest. Well, we're talking today about the truth about free radicals. And in our first segment, we were just laughing because I said the word moles, M-O-L-E-S, and you thought I said mold. You know, I was trying to follow you.
Right, where did that come from?
You're wondering why I look so confused.
Because that's why I was wondering what you were talking about mold for.
Because I've noticed, like, some new moles, M-O-L-E-S.
Not molds.
But is that a sign of free radicals, of aging?
Yes, it is. Yes.
I don't like that.
Moles are definitely as you get older, those start to increase, and that's definitely a free radical. You know, like the liver spots, moles, wrinkles, all those types of things are signs of free radical pathology. Cataracts, macular degeneration is 100% of free radical pathology. Loss of hearing can also be a free radical pathology situation. So there's an awful lot. So it's a very important type of aspect, and it's amazing how much you can do just by looking at someone, what their skin, the moles, the wrinkles, the liver spots. Those are all signs of free radicals. So there's a tremendous amount you can do just looking at someone at their levels of free radical pathology.
Well, what causes free radical pathology?
Well, besides
aging.
Well, yeah. Well, the whole thing on what causes it is an imbalance in homeostasis. There is you need free radicals to survive. It's a very important process of the body, and in its proper type of a situation, it's extremely helpful. The immune system uses it to fight viruses and bacteria. Also, it is involved in the body's use of destroying old tissue. So the body actually uses the chemical process of free radicals, the process of oxidation, reduction. The redox potential is important to actually make energy. Without that, then, one thing that happens when you have free radical pathology is fatigue. Being tired because the mitochondria is where that's processed. That's the first place that's damaged with free radicals.
Well, can free radicals be good?
No, yeah, free radicals, it's useful, but in homeostasis. And homeostasis is a perfect balance. And homeostasis is where you live the longest, are the healthiest. And when things go off of homeostasis, free radicals start to get out of control. And if the body loses control of free radicals, then it loses control of a lot of the chemical processes that occur in the body. And bad things start to happen, like moles.
Then we don't we don't want those radicals to be free then and out of control.
We don't want them out of control. We want things in homeostasis, and when we are in homeostasis, that is the definition of health.
I just try to figure out how they got their name. Do you know that?
I think it was a rock promoter, that actually decided to come up with that one.
Well, let's talk about. We talk on the show a lot about homeostasis.
Yes.
That's how we treat the body here at the Prather practice. Correct.
Correct.
Everything we do. What kind of success have you had with free radical pathology at the Prather practice?
Oh, extremely well. We've. It's very important to identify. One of the most interesting cases I had was a young boy who was brought to me. He was in a foster family, and they were very health conscious. And so that's one of the reasons they took this boy. This boy was one of the most abused boys in Indiana, kind of made history. Mm-hmm. And he was untrainable when they got him. Mm-hmm. And they brought him in to help with his chemistry because one of the things that was occurring was he smelled so bad. Mm. And I said, oh, okay. They said, no. You need to make sure that no one else is at the office, and then you have time to air out the office afterwards. Because he smelled. He really did smell that bad. Mm-hmm. And we brought him in. We did the blood work. I looked at him, and the whole problem was he had been under such trauma, emotional trauma and physical trauma, that the trauma produced so much free radicals that he was putrefying his whole body, and it was a free radical pathology. And we did some very, very simple type of antioxidants, because he couldn't take a whole lot of things. We hit him heavy with some vitamin C, some other antioxidants, superoxide dismutase. Did a combination. We only did about 4 antioxidants. And the next day they called up and they were so excited because the smell had reduced so dramatically. And it really was within a couple of weeks the smell went away. And that's actually one thing that occurs. If you have heavy free radicals, your body odor increases quite a bit. Like stinky feet? Mm-hmm. Stinky feet is free radicals, usually caused by a low zinc, particularly, but zinc is important for free radical pathology.
Interesting.
But the smells, if you have bad BO, you probably have free radical pathology because that's what actually creates it.
Interesting.
And so we got rid of the smell, and then he went from untrainable to trainable, and then he actually started out on the educable. And it was the free radicals that had just damaged his body so much that his brain wasn't working.
And you said this was coming from the trauma emotionally and physically. Yeah,
it was, stress is something that throws off our system. And that's another cause of free radical pathology. So just going through stress increases free radical pathology. So, again, it's a whole homeostasis. It's on an emotional level. It's on a physical level. It's on so many different types of levels that occurs that it was, and his health just went. And it was, there was an awful lot of ways that other people were trying to deal with it and really weren't getting success. And I said, if we can just get the process going, then his body can start to take over. If we could get the free radicals down.
And that's encouraging, that the body can regenerate, the body can reverse.
It's as we're talking about structure function, we really don't talk about treating diseases. And that's an important type of thing because as you're treating disease, it's a set of symptoms that's pharmaceutically based. Because those are the things that actually change the symptomatology, whereas we are bringing the body back into homeostasis, and the body's the hero. The body's making the changes. We're just getting things out of the way for the body to actually work.
Interesting.
That's the basis of our care.
So how is free radical pathology controlled?
Well, free radical pathology, the body has a whole system of checks and balances trying to keep the free radicals under control because it realizes how important that is. The most important chemical in our body that controls free radicals is the uric acid.
Uric acid. Okay.
So I always look at the uric acid in the blood test.
And that's on blood tests. Okay.
It's on the blood test. And so making sure that that's working properly. There are so many other different types of aspects of it. The vitamin C, the zinc, the methionine, melatonin on a hormonal level is part of the involvement on that. But we really need to look at the entire system, and how it is working, and then help it on where it's deficient.
So blood work can tell you a lot of things about people's free radical pathology.
Oh, it tells me everything about people's free radical level. There's also blood changes, because if the free radical pathology is there, then the red blood cells become what we call sticky. And then as they stick together, there's a clumping type of thing, and there's a definite changes in the CBC. It's very evident, if you know how to look at that you have free radical pathology. So uric acid, cholesterol. Cholesterol is a very excellent free radical absorber, and if you have high free radicals, the uric acid goes up, and then also the cholesterol levels go up.
Interesting.
So you can control. I get a lot of people with high cholesterol, and instead of giving them a pharmaceutical to damage the liver so it doesn't produce it anymore, what I do is I reduce the free radical pathology, and the cholesterol goes back down to normal.
Interesting.
Cholesterol is a protective device that is that the body makes. It is not a pathology in itself. It is a sign of pathology that's going on. One of the pathologies that stimulates free cholesterol, hyperlipidemia, is free radical pathology.
Interesting. So what specifically are you looking for on the blood test?
We are, when we're talking about free radicals, the uric acid level, we're looking at the cholesterol levels, we're looking at the red blood cells as indicators. Also, the liver is very much involved. If you start to have high free radicals, then the liver enzymes start to drop. So there's a congestion that occurs along those lines, tenderness in through the liver. So those are all different types of processes. It can also cause damage in the kidneys. So it's a pattern of things. It's not like, oh, here's free radicals. But it's a long-term studying of the blood work and then realizing what's going on with that. And it's very easy to pick up the free radical pathology.
Well, when we come back, let's talk about why the research is mixed on the benefits of antioxidants, and then what you recommend for antioxidants for your patients. Listen to the Voice of Health Radio on your smartphone or tablet on all of the top radio apps available. TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. You can find these apps and more on our website at thevoiceofhealthradio.com. This is The Voice of Health with Dr. Robert Prather. Laughter is the best medicine.
Then they call you. You get very excited when they call you because you think now you're going to see the doctor. But you're not. Now you're going into the next smaller waiting room. Now you don't even have your magazine. Now you got your pants around your ankles. You're sitting on that butcher paper they pull out over the table. Sometimes I bring a pickle with me and I put it next to me right there on the table. I don't know. In case the doctor wants to fold the whole thing up for a to-go order.
Are you frustrated by not getting to the root cause of your health issue? Are you tired of not knowing why you're always fatigued? Are you wanting to say no to toxic drugs? Have you lost hope? Are you just tired of being sick and tired? At the Prather Practice, we want you to know that we have the answers for you. We offer the alternative to the disease care model. We are the drug-free model to health and wellness. At the Prather Practice, we look for the underlying cause of your health problem and not just the symptomatology. Through thorough diagnostics, we find your individual health blueprint for your treatment. Where the disease care model is symptom-based, the structure-function model we practice gets to the root of your health issue. The Prather Practice is the most comprehensive wellness center in the Midwest. Our integrated practice offers you the most treatment options to restore your health and your hope. Learn more about the Prather Practice by calling 317-848-8048 or learn more on our website at thevoiceofhealthradio.com. About free radicals and learning a lot. You know, how
it is
what
fascinating.
An effect they have on our health and our aging process. So let's talk about, why is research mixed on the benefits of antioxidants?
Well, it's very frustrating to read scientific research on free radicals and antioxidants because it seems so simple to me, but it's actually a thought process. And the hardest people to reason with are very smart people. Sometimes you can be really dumb because you're really smart. And it's a process of mechanistic versus holistic thinking. When you're thinking about in a mechanistic pattern, which isn't how the world works, that's not how the universe works. It's actually unscientific. It's nice to be able to analyze things in a mechanistic viewpoint, but you can really miss out on a lot. So, their thought process is, okay, let's find the answer to free radicals. Which antioxidant works the best? Which is stupid, because it's whichever one is deficient. So they will sit there and they'll take vitamin E, and they will do some tests on its effect on the free radical pathology. Well, on some people it does really well, and some people it does nothing, and some people it makes them worse. Okay, I can tell you that already, that's how it's going to work. If you're deficient in vitamin E, it's going to help. If you are okay on other different types of things, it's not going to do anything because you've got enough vitamin E, so it's not going to affect it. And if you are imbalanced, because vitamin E is going to cause problems with other different types of vitamins and cause a decrease in your vitamin D and vitamin A, and so it can actually make it worse.
So they want to have one answer,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, so they're saying
for everybody.
Okay, they don't analyze. There's a reason why it's out of balance.
That's what we need to find out first.
That's what we need to find out first. And if you did a better analysis of research is, one, determine their levels of free radicals, then do an analysis of their vitamin, mineral, enzymes, amino acid deficiencies. Establish that, and then experiment accordingly. But they're just taking everyone as if they're the same, and people are not the same. See, that's the
you mean our chemistry,
model.
Our blood chemistry is not the same?
We are not the same. So they want to work it like a pharmaceutical. These are not pharmaceuticals. This is not disease care. They're trying to approach free radicals from a disease care model. And this is a functional model, is how you're going to understand and act and work with this. So it's improper assumptions before they even start the experiment, and a non-understanding of how the body works before they even begin. So the research is just ridiculous. And that's why they're getting mixed results. They're saying, well, these antioxidants aren't working like we thought. Well, duh.
Was that duh?
Duh. I could have told you that, and you could have saved all that money from doing the research. And if you just think about it, I could tell this to a third grader, and they'd go, yeah, that makes sense. But to a guy with 4 PhDs, this doesn't make any sense at all because he's trained in a certain type of thought pattern, and he can't change it.
Interesting. So, with that being said,
in other words, don't listen to the scientific research because they're not thinking correctly.
Okay.
I'm not going to say they're stupid because they're smart, but they're too smart. Do you know what I mean? So. Antioxidants are we use those every day. They use those for preservatives of food. And it's a matter of scientifically, evidence-based analysis to find out where the problems are and then address it accordingly.
So, what do you recommend for antioxidants? For
whatever the body needs.
Good answer.
And interestingly enough, that will change. You know,
With
that's
that
why
person.
with that person, you know, because we get, you know, it's a balancing. It's like we got several scales, and everything has to be balanced. And not just a scale from side to side, but there's several scales that we need to add a little bit, take away a little bit. There's some things that we need to reduce. There's some things that we need to increase. And that doesn't stay the same. It's like, well, why am I changing products? You know, when I first started this, I just heard this from another patient. Terrible free radical pathology has created a tremendous amount of disease. I was just explaining everything to her today. So we started her on a free radical, pathology reduction program. And when she started out, she says, "Oh my gosh, this is really working. My pain throughout my body is much better. My energy has increased. Things are going great." And I told her to come back in 3 weeks, to recheck on that. Well, she didn't come back in 3 weeks. She came back in 5. And she sits there and she says, "This program isn't working. The last 2 weeks I felt terrible." So I told you to come back in 3 weeks, not 5 weeks. Well, it was working before. Well, it's different now because the body's balances. So it's an ongoing process. It's a balancing type of thing, and the things she was taking before didn't work because why? We'd raise those up. Now we have to raise up the other type of aspect.
Yeah.
So what the antioxidants that were working before are no longer working. We have to put in different antioxidants at this point to get the free radicals under control. And then she goes, "Oh, so what you told me was actually important to do."
We need to get you a hat and say, "I'm serious." Yeah, you have a gentle demeanor, and sometimes people,
Sure.
I'm serious. We need to get that for you.
So
you need to come back in 3 weeks.
It's an ongoing process, and it's a delicate balance type of thing, and we need to have lab tests to see how it's going and how that needs to be shifted, and we have ways of finding out exactly what that patient is going to respond to and what they're not.
Well, and the body changes.
Oh, and the body is continually changing. That's what the problem is.
Well, we talked about, diagnostics and why they're so important with free radical pathology. Talked about the importance of blood work. What role does the gut play in free radicals?
The gut is absolutely so essential because that's where a lot of the toxins that are made that poison the body that kicks off the free radicals.
Yeah, I was talking to a new weight loss patient yesterday, and norm for her is not having a bowel movement but every 3 to 4 days. I said, you realize that's not normal, And
that creates chemicals that are absorbed into the body that are extremely, extremely free radical.
I just told her that sledge sitting there in your gut. Same thing.
It's poison. It's poison that gets into the system and really kicks off. So, we have people that I tell them 80% of the free radical pathology that's occurring is occurring in the gut.
Wow, 80%.
80%. So the gut is absolutely critical.
And when you talk about the gut, we're talking about, bowel movements, but also infection. Parasitical infection, correct?
Yeah, the normal bacteria. What goes into the body? There's 2 different sources of free radicals. There's endogenous, which we actually create within our own body, and exogenous that comes in. Things that come in from the outside. Smoke. Which we take in through our lungs. The sun itself produces free radicals in us. X-rays, all those sorts of different types of things, and then what we also produce inside. The mitochondria and the gut is a huge source of free radical pathology. So if you have a sick gut where it's not working where you have IBS, if you have any type of a gut problems, constipation, whatever, you are not in homeostasis, and the free radical levels are going through the roof.
Yeah, I don't think we pay attention enough,
No.
to when we're going, how often we're going, what the the bowel movement looks like is important.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a big indication of our health, correct?
It's a big indication of our
We
health.
could have a whole show on that. Wasn't there a book we bought?
Yeah.
The poop.
What does your poop tell you?
Yeah, what does your poop tell?
Which it tells you a lot.
What about hair analysis? Is that important?
Hair analysis is a means of looking at the tissue. And looking at the tissue is very important, especially for the minerals. If you have high mercury in your system, your free radical pathology is going to go right through the roof. That's one of the things that occurs. Imbalance between the copper and zinc is a huge free radical producer. The calcium-magnesium ratio. All those different types of things. As a matter of fact, the most damaging heavy metal out there for free radicals is nickel. Nickel actually causes more damage even than mercury or lead.
They were putting that in amalgams for a while.
And we've had several patients who came in recently with nickel toxicity, and they felt awful. Just all the different types of symptoms, neurological and learning issues and ADD and getting the nickel down. It's like, oh my gosh, my life is coming back. So extremely important to understand, and again, understanding the homeostasis.
Okay, well, up next, let's talk about how important our lifestyle is in free radical pathology. Never miss an episode of The Voice of Health so that you can stay informed and empowered about your health. Get a podcast of our show automatically delivered to you every week by signing up for our show on iTunes. You can find that link on our website at thevoiceofhealthradio.com. And don't forget, thevoiceofhealthradio.com has complete archives of all of our past episodes with an audio library of information to help you add more life to your years and more years to your life. This is The Voice of Health with Dr. Robert Prather. The Voice of Health Wellness Tip with Dr. Robert Prather of the Prather Practice. The 3 tests, Dr. Prather, that you suggest everyone have every year, to give a complete picture of health is the Prather Profile Blood Analysis, the GI Effect Stool Kit, and the hair analysis. And what does the hair analysis reveal about a person's health?
Well, one of the most important things that we're looking on a hair analysis is the possibility of heavy metal toxicity. That can cause a huge variety of diseases and symptoms that can actually occur. Any type of autoimmune disease could begin with a heavy metal toxicity, or any type of neurological conditions, MS, ALS, a lot of those types of diseases can be kicked off by heavy metal toxicity, including a whole host of symptoms that would be hard to explain any other way. The other things that show up with the hair analysis is the balance of the minerals. It can play a huge effect on the entire system. Now, when plants actually grow, they can actually make the fatty acids, the vitamins, the amino acids, but the minerals have to come from the ground. So if the minerals aren't there, they can't make them. So the most common deficiencies that can occur in nutritional health of an individual is mineral deficiencies or mineral imbalances. And the hair analysis is the best way to actually show up those changes that can occur.
Well, how does the hair analysis help find the root cause of health issues? And no pun intended there.
When you're actually trying to discover what's going on in an individual, so many things can actually result with a mineral imbalance or a heavy metal toxicity that it really behooves us to actually do that particular test. And that's one reason that I recommend it be done at least once a year. And if there's any type of important type of disease process going on or unexplained symptoms, checking on the hair analysis really can show a tremendous amount and reveal the underlying problem.
Schedule your appointment at the Prather Practice, 317-848-8048. That's 317-848-8048. Or learn more on our website at thevoiceofhealthradio.com. The Prather Practice, restoring hope. You're listening to The Voice of Health with Dr. Robert Prather of the Prather Practice, where our mission is restoring hope to our patients. We're talking today about the truth about free radicals, and it's very, very enlightening to me. I mean, you hear that word and you hear antioxidants.
Yeah, and it just kind of passes by and it sounds interesting, but I don't know what that really means type of thing.
Yeah, how would you describe antioxidants?
Antioxidants are chemicals, minerals, enzymes that help to dissipate the free radical pathology.
Okay.
So they change the chemical makeup of our body.
Great. So when you're treating somebody and you're giving them antioxidants, like you've shared with us with different patients, they can be a multitude of different things.
Oh, you're talking about, it's
not one
balancing,
thing.
No, it's balancing out the body. There's vitamins that have antioxidant properties. There's minerals that have antioxidant properties. There's hormones that have antioxidant properties. Mm-hmm. There's proteins. I mean, it goes on and on. All the different types of aspects, fatty acids. So all those different types of things have antioxidant properties to them.
Well, let's talk about lifestyle. How important is lifestyle in free radicals?
Of course, a perfect lifestyle, you wouldn't have free radical pathology.
Right.
Which none of us live.
Mm-hmm.
But, when you're talking about lifestyle, you're talking about everything involved in the system. Every aspect of what we do. So lifestyle is the most important aspect of controlling free radicals.
So diet.
Absolutely critical. And not only do we have to work on controlling free radicals, but plants do too. Because the plants actually have the oxidative process within their system. It's a different process, but they also produce free radicals. So they produce chemicals and enzymes that help to keep free radicals going. So the healthier the plant, the better it's able to control the free radicals. And then as we eat that plant, then we also get their capabilities of fighting the free radicals. Now, the problem with that is the farther they are from being picked, the less potent their free radical pathology fighting ability. So if you sit there and you have a berry, which berries are probably one of the highest plant parts that are out there that have free radical ability, because you have to keep that berry nice and fresh and everything for the birds to eat it so you can spread your progeny. Mm-hmm. So if they start and they're very nutrients, so free radical pathology on that can happen very quickly. So the plant puts an awful lot of antioxidants into that seed-bearing fruit so it can preserve it, so it will actually be viable. So berries are an excellent source of antioxidants. And if you pick that berry, you're getting a very high amount. However, if you pick it, you freeze it, you can it, the longer it goes, the less the less antioxidant value it has. So
even freezing it.
Well, I mean, freezing helps to preserve it, but the longer that goes from plant to consumption, the less antioxidant value it has.
So that's why we promote farmers market, local.
Sure. As people have gotten away from their own gardens, if you're raising your own food, you have a garden there, you pick it, you eat it, the values of the food are just super high. Mm-hmm. The longer it goes, when it ships from South America up here, that has less antioxidant value.
Makes sense. Well, anything else about diet that...
If you eat the same thing on a regular basis, if you eat the wrong types of things, there are foods that help with antioxidant capability, and then there are foods that actually increase your chances of getting free radical pathology. So one of the things that they say is, I love my steaks grilled out on the charcoal, but that is a high free radical type of a producer, because you take that fat, you sear it, and that damages the fat molecules, which actually can help to give you the type of fat that actually increases free radicals. So, much more plant-based, fresh plant-based, the higher your ability to fight free radicals. So, the protein is real good, especially as you're younger, but as you get older, you need to switch a little bit more to a plant-type-based diet and fresher, and you'll keep yourself from aging.
Interesting. What about exercise?
Exercise is extremely important. As you can get exercise into your system, a good exercise program can help your body to handle free radicals. If you're just sitting around not doing exercise, your free radical pathology is going to increase. However, if you over-exercise, you're a marathoner, you're one of these hardcore type of exercise people, heavy weightlifting, you can actually increase. So again, it's a homeostasis. So people who are heavy athletes, it's just like I had one gentleman who came in who said, well, I just want to get checked. I want to confirm how healthy I am. I'm a triathlete. And I eat, vegetarian, and, I do all these types of things. And I said, ooh, no, triathlete isn't. That's a really stressful type of thing. All the professional triathletes have a whole nutritional type of program just to handle the stress on the body. And so we did testing on him and found a lot of health issues as a result of his triathlete competition. I says, if you don't work on this, this is going to be dangerous. Well, that's not what he wanted to hear.
Right.
It's not wasn't his mindset, and didn't do anything we said. And 6 months later, had a stroke. And the strokes are a direct result of free radical pathology, and it was from his heavy exercise program. And he needed to be on a definite program to counteract his over-exercise. So no exercise is really bad. Too much. Do you see homeostasis?
Yes, it's the balance again.
It's a balance. It's a balance that's very important.
What about smoking and free radicals?
Oh my gosh, smoking is just like free radical pathology gone amok. There is nothing that causes more free radicals into the system than smoking cigarettes. You can actually look at someone who's a smoker and you can tell it because of the wrinkles on their skin. It ages them quickly because of the heavy free radicals that are in their system. So smoking is just like one of the biggest no-nos you can possibly come up for free radical. If you want to get cardiovascular disease, cancer, all these other different types of things, and age quickly and die young, smoking's the way to do it.
So next time I see a smoker, I can say that.
You can say that. It's proven.
No. Let's talk about stress. What role does stress play with free radicals?
Stress throws off the entire chemical process of the body. When you are under stress, the whole body shifts. Now, it's interesting because no stress is not good.
Right.
The way that the body is worked is that you should be 80% of the time in what we consider a rest-digest, a parasympathetic mode, and 20% you should be in a fight-flight sympathetic mode. That's a perfect balance in your system. Again, it's not just completely one or the other.
Right.
But that is the perfect balance. Most of us are stuck in the sympathetic, where we, and you can tell that by your shoulders, that those, what we call levator scapulas, those tight rocks up there. That's a good measurement of your stress level.
Just poking on them.
I can just kind of poke on people and tell them what their stress level is. And I can see the stress level on their blood tests. The adrenals, the chemical imbalance is off. It makes you more acidic. And it just throws off the whole chemical process. So it's a huge problem and causes free radicals.
Okay, Dr. Prather, we have to close. It went fast. We could do a whole nother show, but thank you so much for the information on the truth about free radicals. The Prather practice is located at 8902 North Meridian Street on the north side of Indianapolis, just south of the I-465 loop. If we can help you to achieve better health, we'd love to hear from you. Connect with our office at 317-848-8048. That's 317-848-8048. Join us again here next week or anytime on our website at thevoiceofhealthradio.com for The Voice of Health with Dr. Robert Prather. Healthy Habits from the Prather Practice is a natural weight loss program with a proven success rate. Healthy Habits is an individualized program that is tailored to each patient's needs. Healthy Habits is not a trendy diet. The program actually resets your body's metabolism for optimal fat burning. The Healthy Habits program includes concentrated vitamins and minerals that help you to burn fat and feel more energetic. Healthy Habits provides support from a counselor and exercise physiologist in order to maximize your results and help you create new healthy habits in your life. This program even helped our own Dr. Prather to lose 24 pounds and shed 4 inches from his waist in just 12 days. Schedule your consultation with a Healthy Habits counselor at the Prather Practice at 317-848-8048. That's 317-848-8048 or on the web at thevoiceofhealthradio.com. The Prather Practice, restoring hope.